All right,
Taking
guys.
some time to do it.
Thank you, everyone, for your patience while we got everything set up. I'm sorry that it was a mess at the beginning. Originally, we were trying to do Twitter Spaces, but unfortunately, Twitter Space just could not handle our power. It could not handle our desire to talk about Smash, so that crashed pretty quickly, and we had to figure out how to get this YouTube streaming setup working.
It went perfectly. First try.
Yeah.
This
we
was
got
the
it.
plan, wasn't it? Build up
Yes.
expectations.
Yes. A twist.
So awesome for Twitter. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you again for everyone for sticking through until we got this all set up. But now we are ending this call. So thank you for joining us.
What?
No.
That's
My notes.
brutal.
All right. Well, so I guess the first thing that we'll talk about is do you guys want to talk about E3 or Smash first? Like,
yeah.
Let's do Smash.
Heck
Smash first. Okay.
Right into
So,
it.
all right. So we heard just this previous week that Masahiro Sakurai will be ending his whatchamacallit, his Famitsu column. Yep. Right after Smash DLC ends, which he says that there will be only 2 more characters left. I think pretty much everyone is expecting only 2 characters. Do you guys think that there's any more content outside of the last 2 characters for Fight Pass 2?
Optimistically, I want to say yeah, but I feel like Sakurai has worked so hard, and the guy does deserve a break. And personally speaking, I hope that he gets to have that break. Outside of characters, though, I do feel like there's a possibility of stages. Like, this is the Ultimate Smash, they're finally ending it, and there's only, like, what? How many stages are there left? Like 14 from Smash Wii U and prior games?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
I
I'd
think
love to have those in some sort of stage pack.
You just want
Yeah.
Poke Floats, John, be honest.
I do. Just poke, and also the DKC returns level from Wii U. Because there's a weird amount of DKC levels in Smash. Like, we have 2 jungles, I think, and that's about it. So give me that forest. Give me the forest back.
I've noticed the last little bit of Smash updates, they've added small battlefields, I believe it's called, and they even updated Cloud's Final Smash. I think if we get anything out of the ordinary, kind of like the Mario Party update, I think they'll just throw something in at some point, and it'll confuse everybody, and it'll get everyone's hopes up. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of tinkering after the final characters. Just something out of nowhere that has no rhyme or reason to us. I think that's a possibility that they just add something at some point.
It's like a new mode or something?
Just whatever you would consider small battlefield. It's not a new stage, but it's not a new stage. Why did they update Cloud's Final Smash? I don't know. He wanted to, and he did. So I think
with Stage Builder, they said that was the final core mode that they're doing. Maybe it's been enough time for them to decide against that and do more. But I don't expect like more core modes. I don't expect like Smash Run to come back or something like that.
Yeah.
Break the targets, John.
Man, I'd love Break the Targets, but more than Break the Targets, I want both the platforms to come back.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
okay.
Wow,
I
you
that.
just unlocked a memory. I forgot all about that.
Race to the finish.
Oh my god, yes.
Actually, that's what they end on.
Oh, that'd be wonderful.
It's Sakurai signing off. This is it for me, but we have one more surprise, and it's Race to the Finish.
Wow, I completely forgot about that.
I want that so bad now.
Why would you bring that up? That's too good.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on whether they'll do more content all the time. Like, Sakurai speaks pretty definitively in his Famitsu posts, where he's like, it's the final 2, especially in the latest one. But I've never seen anything create marketing hype like a Smash reveal. Like, that thing it just prints excitement. Like, I just don't understand why they would stop doing it, especially when it's like You have like a pretty tight crew together already. Doesn't cost too much to keep going. So I think it all depends on what their plans are and if they're gonna release something for like a Switch Pro with HD stuff, or like or 4K resolution and stuff like that. Like maybe, but I don't really know. Like if they go the MK11 route, then they could port it to a new console, add some new content to it, and then walk away from it, or get Sakurai started on another project if he wants to.
But where do we go from here? How do you top Ultimate? We've come so far. If you do another game, do you start from scratch, or do you just keep building upon Ultimate? I don't know. I feel like all good things come to an end eventually, because if you keep going, you never appreciate what you had before. So I do hope they eventually do end this, and they end it. They never really got on a bang though, do they? I mean, like the last pack was Byleth that ended it, so I'm not expecting a big extravaganza. And if we look at what they've done already, like Steve, I don't think you can have a bigger character than that, and he was the second character of this pack.
Yeah, I think I know a lot of people think that they ended on like a bit of a whimper every time, but I feel like there's been like, especially with the last pass, like there was marketing reason for a lot of those decisions. Like Byleth came out in was announced in January, so like that's not like a huge sales period. But you had 4 like third-party characters building up to it, and they're kind of mirroring that same pattern again. So you look at like Min Min came out in June, who's exciting, but maybe not as exciting as Minecraft Steve or Sephiroth, who lead into the holiday period. Then you reset and you start with Pyra and Mithra, who are exciting, but maybe not quite as exciting as like Crash Bandicoot or Master Chief or something like that. So I feel like they've been a lot more strategic in the way they've rolled out their content. Not necessarily because I know people expect like a big bang for the final pass, but we have 2 slots coming up that drop probably E3 we're expecting, and then later in the holiday, which would push sales of Smash Ultimate during that period. So I think they might have saved some of their bigger characters to drive in this final stretch.
I think the degree of finality is not lost on Sakurai. I think it's not. I think as sometimes it seems like Nintendo's not listening, etc., etc. I'm sure he knows that we are a large portion of the fan base wasn't super happy with the ending on Byleth. I don't necessarily think the character itself will be this grand finale character, but I think it's possible that whatever the cinematic is will have a theming of this is the final character, right? So in a Sephiroth trailer, in the Hero trailer, in the Mega Man trailer, and in the Ken trailer, Ken and Incineroar, they kind of take place in universe in the Smash like storyline, so to speak. And I think if the character is not a final bang character, I think it's possible that the theming of the trailer itself could have a degree of this is the last trailer, if that makes sense.
That'd be kind of funny if they just finish fighting, and then someone walks up and they're like, "Hey guys," like Crash Bandicoot's just there and waving at them or something.
Yeah, missed the entire thing. Kind of like Sonic at the end. I mean, he was there for the final boss, but he was there for like 5 seconds. I was so bummed as a kid. I was looking forward to Sonic being in, was it Space Emissary or whatever?
Space Emissary, yeah.
Yeah. And he's there for like 10 seconds. I want the final character to just be funny. I'm reading chat, sorry. Chat said, I want the character to just be funny.
One thing I'm kind of missing with Ultimate is just that legacy character. I mean, I guess you can argue Banjo was the legacy character of the DLC, but
yeah,
I don't know. Not in the same way that other Smash games have had all these NES reps. I also guess Simon and Richter would fill that void, but just a Nintendo legacy character, we're kind of missing out on.
Yeah.
Who do you think would be a good fit for that?
Lip.
It was all a setup.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Should have seen that, Kevin.
Speaking of that, Lip has been in Smash since Melee. We've had Lip's stick in there. The Kirby, one of Kirby's transformation abilities is the pound upon block. I feel like this franchise has the potential to kick off again, mostly because I won't shut up about it. But like they've had Tetris, they've had Pokemon, they've had just generic puzzles. But I think they can really make it thrive, and maybe Lip coming into Smash is what it takes. But she could be unique. I know other characters quite plays like that. And like Smash has Dr. Mario as a puzzle character, but he barely plays like anything from a puzzle game. He's just Mario with a doctor around. That's basically it. So I feel like Lip could be a really fun, unique character. Not that I really expect her, but I do think she'll be fun.
Lip would fit in. I think if you talked to a random person, they would, maybe not really want Lip or et cetera, et cetera. But I think the moment Lip would be put into the game, Lip would fit in with everybody instantly. It's kind of like Minecraft Steve didn't feel like he was a part of the Smash world for all of like maybe 5 minutes, and now he doesn't feel separate from anybody anymore. He feels just like one of the crew. So I think Lip would fit in really, really well.
I'm kind of pushing for Donkey Kong Jr. If he just throws math at people. Yeah, just throws math at people. Come on.
Ah, yes, I'd love that. I do want more Donkey Kong stuff, because as we were saying earlier, there's only 2 Donkey Kong stages, and they're quite similar in their theming. And Dixie Kong would also be a good character, but Donkey Kong Jr. with his math is something I've not thought about before. And now
it's never crossed my mind.
Yeah. But in terms of stages too, like you could have Grassland Groove as a stage with all the animal props coming up and down. There's tons you can do from Tropical Freeze.
Oh man, Tropical Freeze music in Smash. There was never enough of that.
He's so good. That stage too that you mentioned, John, is like iconic, I think.
It's one of the best platform stages ever. And yeah, there aren't that many Tropical Freeze tracks in there. We have like the first stage, and I think there's like 1 or 2 others. It's pretty light.
We need 20.
We need the entire track.
Yeah, no, honestly. I'm skipping ahead in my list quite a bit. But since we're on first-party characters, I do want to bring up something I don't think I've really heard people mention that there's a past for this. It's happened a few times, and I think there could be a bit of a COVID mix-up, not mix-up like swapping, but mix-up like in a kind of a twist kind of way, and where one of their first-party characters could be tied in with a game that we haven't particularly seen much of or at all, that we could get a sort of preview of in the trailer itself. I don't know if you guys remember, but Luigi in the Castlevania trailer, the Simon Belmont trailer, had the Poltergust from Luigi's Mansion 3 in it. Way before we saw anything about Luigi's Mansion 3, I believe, or at least we hadn't seen his Poltergust. So people were speculating that was a representation of Luigi's Mansion 3 when we first saw it. And then back a long time ago, there was Greninja. They talked about adding Greninja well before Pokemon X and Y existed. In the public eye, obviously existed, but like in the public eye, I don't think they had revealed Pokemon X and Y. And at this like E3 Pokemon press conference, someone asked about the process of adding Pokemon, and I think Greninja had just barely existed when they started implementing Greninja into Smash 4. And so I think there's obviously no one planned for COVID. So I think there's a possibility that if we do get a first party character, it borrows from a game that's either we've seen very little of or we haven't seen anything of in its character design or the choice of which character it is, etc.
I wrote down like a same thing, Taco. I wrote down a character from Breath of the Wild 2.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
We know Zelda, we know Link, we know Ganon. That's it. I feel like there's a big possibility there's a character in that game that could be in Smash, and we just don't know of them yet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I just want to spell kid.
Nerbian, is how I say your username in chat? You mentioned that it could be a Gen 9 Pokemon. I think a lot of people have been speculating in Gen 8 Pokemon, but again, no one is totally... I feel like plans aren't as solid as they once were in the past, and it could just be anything. Someone also mentioned Tingle from Breath of the Wild 2. We don't, if Tingle exists, we don't know what he looks like. We don't know what the Breath of the Wild version of Tingle looks like.
He looks
We've got
very handsome.
Beetle, though. We'd have an entire legacy of Beetle. Like, we have Beetle from Wind Waker, Beetle from Breath of the Wild, Skyward Sword Beetle. Just this big tag team of generations of Beetle.
Every costume is a different Beetle.
I think Groose will be the promotional character for Zelda. Personally. I don't know about you guys.
Final Smash.
Oh, no.
But
I'm just going to throw this out here.
Yeah.
I really want Sora. I don't care. I don't care how little of a chance it is. I really want Sora. A lot of people would.
Yeah. You're not feeling too optimistic, though?
I've never felt one way or the other. It has been very apparent to me that the only rule that Sakurai has ever been particularly strict on is that it has to be a video game character, and I'm consistently surprised by the characters he chooses. So I don't think there's a good chance. I don't think there's a bad chance that Sora could be in. I think it's just I would assume they've tried. So whether they've succeeded or not, I don't know. But I'm sure on that list that Nintendo slipped Sakurai, whether it's the last list or the list before, because I believe Nintendo chose the list before as well. I might be misspeaking, but I'm sure at some point someone has sat down and decided whether or not Sora would fit. And so I don't think it's off the table, but I don't think it's necessarily the most stable on the table either. But,
I think.
Do you roll Disney characters in with Sora, or is it just strictly Kingdom Hearts characters?
I think, in the same way that, Cloud and Sephiroth have Advent Children music, I believe, and also costumes. I don't think it's necessarily. I don't think if for instance, if Sora was in, I don't think he would get rid of the little Mickey Mouse keychain, right? Okay. I feel like rules are bent around, but I don't know if Goofy and Donald would show up. Sora has plenty of special attacks, for a Final Smash that don't necessarily include Donald and Goofy. So I don't think they'd totally get rid of everything, but also I don't think necessarily you'd get the whole, I don't think Hades and the genie and all them would all show up necessarily.
Can you imagine if they did though? We have Let It Go as a music track.
Oh my god! Listen, I would cry instantly.
That's what you want at the grand finals of a Smash tournament. That would be so surreal. I'd love it. It's interesting that you bring that up because I feel like there's moderations that you could, or alterations you can make to that tassel on his key that you mentioned. It could be the Smash logo or something. There are 100 different ways they can get around that if need be. And I don't know why Disney wouldn't do it. Yeah,
it's Smash.
Well, yeah, right. It's this or Fortnite. So I don't think it really fits into Fortnite.
But yeah, I just someone had to say it. It was my original the ballot or whatever that we did forever ago. I think that was the character I chose. I know that was the character I chose. I just forget what the sign-in sheet was called. But I'll never give up hope. Even if it's the next game, I'll never give up hope.
I think
one thing I've really admired about the DLC is every single character has some kind of unique attribute. Even Sephiroth, he has all these moves that aren't in the game. No other character has moves that kind of mirror that. And Min Min has her long arms. We have Banjo with the Wonder Wing. Everyone has some kind of gimmick. And one thing that I fear, and we kind of touched on this character earlier, but if Dixie Kong were to come in, my fear is her gimmick would be her as a tag team. And I can only think of one character that would be a tag team with
her. Kitty Kong.
Say his name, John.
I will not say that.
That's awesome. It would be cool if she got in.
Yeah, I think she'd fit great. I feel like that's, if not in this game, the next Smash, she'd be in. You know what I mean? That's I feel like Dixie's inevitable almost.
Yeah, I'm kind of holding out hope for Crash Bandicoot still, although it's starting to waver a bit.
Yeah,
I think too many people expect them, I think.
I think everything I ever think of always comes down to There is only 2 characters left, and there are more than 2 obvious picks, if that makes sense. You know, it could be Master Chief, it could be Crash, it could be Sora, it could be, you know, Eggman. You know what I mean? But there are more, despite the fact that the obvious choices are diminishing. I feel like, you know, the pool of guaranteed winners that everyone would be excited about is getting smaller and smaller. There's still more of those than there are slots left.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Eggman.
Oh yeah.
Eggman would be so good.
I've been wanting Eggman since Sonic.
It would feel complete. Something is missing right now. We have all these heroes versus villains, and Eggman is just one of the biggest ones, and he's just lacking.
I'd argue he's the second biggest next to Bowser.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
have one for you if we're talking about villains. What about Nemesis from Resident Evil?
Okay.
I'd say he's like iconic. Yeah, I'd say he's an iconic like Resident Evil bad guy.
Yeah, he'd be relentless.
Again, if we ever do get a Resident Evil character, I could easily see him being one of those like boss battles, right? Like the Ganon or the Marks,
the Dracula.
Yeah,
sure,
easily. Someone has said this out in the wilds before, but Tails doesn't necessarily have like the biggest difference of a moveset compared to Sonic. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I've always thought if they were going to add Tails, that it could totally be possible that he is a tag team, like you mentioned before, with classic Sonic.
Ooh.
Kind of like a Sonic 2 Ice Climber situation, where it's nearly the same moveset as Sonic, but you have 2 characters, you know, bouncing back and forth. A little bit weaker, because, you know, they're younger, right? And they're kids. But I've always thought that was a good idea. I don't think it'll happen.
Tails feels like a point of retribution. Like, we had Sephiroth, who kind of redeemed the Final Fantasy representation with a much better stage and way more music tracks. Sonic in Smash is he's always been a bit disappointing, because most of his moves are the homing attack and spin dashing. There's 2 separate spin dashes.
Yeah.
With Tails, though, like, you can still have the spin dash, and maybe you have like a Sonic Adventure Tails 12 thing, or maybe his mech can become part of his moveset or something like that. It just feels like they can make the Sonic representation and moveset way more interesting with Tails.
Sonic showed up too soon. It was before, you know, third-party characters got these amazing movesets that felt like the character was exactly from their game. You know, he just came too soon.
I think with Smash, like Sakurai tried to lean too much into the one button move kind of idea with Sonic, and that's why his moveset is kind of lame, because like it seems like it's a moveset that could be done with one button, but in execution it's not that interesting.
He's the character I play. And just wish it could be better.
Yeah.
So, out of curiosity, how many reveals do you think we'll get at E3? Just one?
I'm thinking we'll get one, and then one more in September.
I don't know. I think we've had 2 the last 2, but this is also the ending. And, you know, again, I don't know how much COVID affects things and how long ago they were planning these last 2. But I don't know, I think it's like 50-50. I don't feel comfortable saying one way or the other. I feel like it could be either, because you could have both reveals now, and then, like, you know, a month or 2 from now have your first, you know, sit down talk with Sakurai about the first character, and then a month or 2 later have your second sit down, and then, you know, you're coming up on the end of the year. So I don't know. I don't feel comfortable either way.
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because the last time they did a double bill, it was Hero and Banjo, who are they're appealing to 2 very different demographics. Whereas when you're revealing Lip, you're appealing to everyone.
I knew that was. I was like, oh, I knew someone was coming.
Don's come in here with an agenda.
Yes.
That's funny. I'm leaning towards 1. If they do 2, I'm suspicious that they have something else up their sleeve.
Well,
because I feel like they want something to build into Holiday.
I think I think that's what I kind of was getting at earlier, that if they had two characters, that it would be almost less about the characters and more that this is the finale. Because whenever they have two characters, they seem to bring in that whole, like, in Smash universe, you know, you got Galeem up in the sky, or when Hero, I rewatched the Hero reveal, and I didn't realize how good that was. I hadn't seen it since E3, and it's, you know, it's as if they're like in the middle of World of Light, and then Hero shows up and is, you know, the Dragon Quest theme plays, and it was like exciting all over again. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put them together and it became more of like a Smash finale kind of thing. I don't necessarily think that'll happen. I just think that's not, you know, off the table, so to speak.
Yeah. And by the way, the hero reveal, when they reveal Erdrick and the 8 hero and Fallout, that's such a good moment.
Oh, it's so good. Underappreciated.
They made it so much more than just like a DQ11 promotional character.
Oh my
by
God.
adding it, like everybody has a hero that they know, you know, which is which is so great.
Yeah. Nervion pointed out Pokemon as well, which I think is a very real possibility. And I know people don't really want a Pokemon character, but pretty much every Smash game does have a new Pokemon. And Ultimate's, Ultimate doesn't have a new one, does it, in any respect?
Incineroar? Incineroar.
Oh, Incineroar,
Yes.
Of course, yeah. But even with the DLC cycle, like Smash 4 brought back Mewtwo. I know it's kind of like a bonus character, but still, like even in when it goes past just the new additions, the DLC does tend to still have one. So I think there's a very high chance that we could get a Pokemon.
I think if we did get him, or get a Pokemon, I do think it's not impossible that it's a Generation 9 Pokemon. I do think it's unlikely, but I don't think it's impossible, only because the second Fighter Pass was decided somewhat recently, right? Like, I think near the end, if not the end of
there's
when
not
Sword and
a
Shield came out.
definitive date on when the second Fighter Pass was finalized. We know that negotiations for Steve were being conducted for several years, but we don't know when they actually locked in all the characters.
Gotcha. I imagine by the time, what's it called? Whoever showed up. When was the announcement? Byleth, right?
Yeah.
Byleth for Fighter Pass 1,
Yeah. And if I had to guess, obviously I don't know any Gen 9 Pokemon, but I think a really good inclusion, despite being a trophy, or I guess a Pokeball in this situation, is Eevee.
Oh.
Eevee seems...
Eevee,
Eevee's the second most popular Pokemon. It's not, another fire starter, right? Obviously, Scorbunny or whatever would be a fun pick, but I think Eevee would appeal to the most people, and obviously the Fighters Pass 2 wasn't originally planned when they incorporated, spirits and trophies and all of that into the base game, and so I think there's a chance that it could be Eevee.
And
I always hold out hope.
They're already pretty flexible. Like, Knuckles gets disabled on Green Hill because he appears as a background character.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right.
Yeah, that's true. I always kind of hold out hope for Meowth.
Yeah, I can see Meowth.
One.
Yeah, I just feel like he never really got his due. He's kind of the foil to Pikachu.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, speaking of that, go ahead and guess your Pokemon guesses. I have something I want to say to that in a second.
I think Eevee is pretty interesting because then you could have the Eevee evolutions as kind of like unique mechanic, or their Final Smash.
Oh, Final Smash for sure. There's a what is it, in Gen 7 or whatever? You have the, I don't remember what it's called, the Z move with all the Eevee's evolutions, like powering up Eevee, and then there's like a blast or something. I don't remember. Totally, I can see that.
That'd be cool, and like Eevee could summon the like Eeveelutions or something for every attack.
Oh yeah, kind of like Duck Hunt Dog, where you're not Duck Hunt Dog, you're the person with the gun shooting Duck Hunt Dog.
You're the trio.
Yeah, oh yeah. Extreme Evo boost, chat says. Gotcha. Okay, so the foiled Pikachu. Now, you're gonna have to bear with me. This is a Bandai Namco character.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, started. You may think this is an anime character, but it actually started as a V pet, which not unlike, although not a V pet, but not unlike Mr. Game & Watch starting as a LCD game. But I think Agumon has a very slim chance, but a chance.
I would be happily surprised.
I would be so hyped for that.
I think Agumon is one of the last surprising characters you could put into the game that no one would expect.
Yeah, and that would feel right in Smash too.
Oh yeah, it would. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Agumon would be a really cool character that a lot of people wouldn't see coming at all.
That's kind of a reveal. I mean, if the character's like Dante, which I know is a very highly requested character, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, there's Dante. But if it's Agumon, it's like, what? Like, that's such a big difference in height.
I mean, that would be such a cool moveset too. Like, he could go up and down as like Digivolutions. Like, he could become Greymon, and so that'd be so cool. I feel like Agumon doesn't get enough love in Smash speculation.
And he's Bandai Namco. They're helping with Smash, I throw them a bone, right?
They're still just rocking Pac-Man.
Yeah. And
do you guys
from
think
Smash 4?
Yeah. Do you guys think they'll get another character in this pass?
I don't feel like there's any criteria for them to have it. I think they can quite easily end the DLC with no other Bandai Namco character. But I want them to have something.
I know a lot of people say Lloyd.
I don't know. I have not played that game. I have no idea.
I think he's like one of the Mii costumes missing right now.
Yes, he's besides the Smash logo costume and a couple of other ones.
There's a Smash logo costume?
Yeah.
I've caught flack for saying this before, but I feel like Lloyd wouldn't bring that much in his moveset. I feel like we have characters that already kind of cover what Lloyd would do.
Yeah, I agree with you, John. Like, I think it would be cool. Like, I understand people have wanted Lloyd for a while, and I think Sakurai has even talked about, like, if we added someone from that series, it would have to be Lloyd. But
he said,
yeah, right. Is that correct?
He said for the Mii costume, that it would have to be Lloyd because there's issues with finding the original creators for the other characters, and Lloyd is a fan favorite among Smash fans.
Gotcha. Okay, so like I just don't know because like they've already like gone through their entire list of like Namco Bandai costumes too. So like people are waiting on Hayachi. Yeah, Hayachi's in. Yeah, he came with Min Min. That's
right. I remember that.
So I feel like he'll just show up as a Mii costume eventually. But I'm not really banking on Lloyd at this point. I don't think he'd be like an E3 caliber reveal anyway.
So you mentioned costumes. I think this is I love this series a lot. But I think I could see this as a Mii costume because we already have two characters from this company. But I think there's a chance that Master Chief could be a Mii costume because you have the shooter, right? The shooter Mii or whatever, right? And you already have Banjo and Steve in the game. And I would not be surprised, in the same way that they put Altair from Assassin's Creed as a Mii costume just out of nowhere, I think it's possible that we just get, with certain like fan favorite, because we're wrapping up, right? With certain fan favorite, much requested characters like the Doom Guy or Master Chief or Dante, I think there's a chance that some of these characters that aren't the last two slots, because there's only 2 slots left, I think it's possible that we just get a costume.
It's so weird to just casually say, "Oh, so we got 2 Xbox characters already." Like, what world are we in? Like, I feel like a lot of people get very bitter about that, but it's a good thing. If those characters aren't going to be in the game, then we may as well have them represented in some form. And if we do get Chief, hopefully we get some music too, because I think is it just Cuphead and
the Halo 2 theme?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Oh my god, not remix. It has to be as slow as the title screen.
but I'd appreciate it. I mean, if he's not going to be in the game, I'd love a Chief Meat costume.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd
So
be
it
down.
does-
I feel like if you're gonna, sorry, did I cut you off?
It's okay.
I
Go
was just
ahead.
gonna say, like, if you get like if you go the Halo route, I feel like you go all in on Halo. Like, I feel like you don't just get a me. It would be like if a Sora me showed up, everyone would be like, "Oh, what?" You know, like
Oh, yeah,
or
I
a
get
Crash
that.
Bandicoot me. Like Altair, you can do because it's just like that's just like the garb that all the assassins wear. But you know, if Master Chief or Crash Bandicoot or Sora or any of these like big asks were to show up as a me costume, it'd be like I just feel like they'd go for the character at that point.
The only way
that's just my
I'd tag
take.
with Crash is if Crash is a man in a costume as a Meat costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it has to be his mouth where the me character's face pops out.
That's
Again, there is 2 slots left, so there are going to be like heavy hitters that don't make it in.
Like Travis.
So it's go ahead.
Like Travis Touchdown, he was just
Yeah.
added
Oh man,
as a me
I felt
costume.
for you.
So much pain.
So
but
I think it's it's like John mentioned, it's better than nothing if they get a me costume.
oh yeah, definitely. I did want to say that with the costumes, sometimes they are grouped together, like either thematically or by company. Like all the Square costumes came with a Square character, and that was probably from a licensing deal. And then like with Min Min, we saw a lot of fighting game characters come with her. Like we had Heihachi, and I think was Akira also with her.
Yeah,
From Virtua Fighter.
Yeah, from Virtual Fighter.
Yep.
So
and
the
Joker had like Sega characters like Knuckles
Exactly.
and Tails.
Yeah. So I think like the fact that we have had Ubisoft characters kind of randomly through this pass, I think that means that we won't get an Ubisoft character. So I don't have high hopes for Rayman personally.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'd love
yeah,
Rayman.
I agree with you.
I would love
think
Rayman.
Shit's kind of sailed.
Yeah. So but
Going out for Rayman.
yeah. If Master Chief gets added in, I feel like it would be as a me costume. I feel like it would have to be with a character that's either a shooting game character. I don't know how they would just add him in randomly when they had 2 opportunities to already add him if he's a me costume.
Yeah, I could see, because a lot of people kind of interchange Master Chief and Doom Guy as their preferred pick out of the 2. I could see if one got in, the other getting a costume. Otherwise, you have 2 buff green shooty men for the last 2 slots, right? So I think that would be an opportune time.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are really high on Doom Guy, but like I feel like because now you group it into Xbox, but like all of this licensing would have been figured out well before that sale, or discussions likely even began to have the sale. So, and with like going off of Push's logic as well, like with Vault Boy already in there, I don't know if Doom Guy is going to happen. It'd be cool. But I'm not like I would put him in the Rayman category of like I'm not really expecting it at this point.
Same with the main character from Skyrim.
Yep. Yeah, Dovahkiin.
Dovahkiin, yeah.
Dragon Man, yes.
Yes.
So
Jonesy, by the way.
This isn't Jonesy. I get it.
Yeah,
it's not my
I think it
preferred
makes
pick,
sense.
but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. So he's actually the one I think is most likely for E3. If I were to pick a character, I think Jonesy would be the one. It's like the biggest game on Nintendo Switch. It's like the number 1 played game. And you look at that and you see like the epic court cases going on and you see leaked documents and they're like, we're going to add Kratos and Master Chief and, Samus. And Samus hasn't shown up yet. E3 is right around the corner. It's around the same time that they're rolling out the space-themed season for Fortnite.
Uh-oh.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that's starting to like line up for like Samus showing up in Fortnite, Jonesy showing up in Smash at this point. So I wouldn't be surprised, and I think that would just be such a slam dunk for Nintendo if they could lock that up. It's like one of the biggest IPs in the world right now.
Yeah.
Who do you want, Push?
Who I want is 9V, but I know that you will not be getting
wow, yeah,
Smash.
That's good.
Love it.
If that happened, I'd be sold.
Like 9-Volt would be such a great character because he could reference all the obscure parts of Nintendo's history with his moveset.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like he could use the Virtual Boy. He could use all the wacky accessories that they've made for the Wii or whatever, and it would be cool. But like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't think he'll be getting in as a character.
Oh, that'd be
Or-
amazing
for-
though. We have a brand new WarioWare stage to go with it.
Yeah, and like he could also be a very meta character. He could be like the one character that knows that he's in Smash, which would be kind of an interesting concept.
He's like the Deadpool of Smash.
Yeah.
Oh,
I do have
That's
one
awesome.
request for these reveals. I hope that the CG trailers don't acknowledge the Smash invitation, because with Smash trailers, they've kind of fallen into this category of either being these big cinematic masterpieces or just someone being handed an invitation and saying, "I'm going to Smash." I don't like that last trailer.
I did not like the Pyramithra.
I did.
'Cause it-
I thought that was so fun. I mean, like, it was so. They're like, where is she? And I thought that was fun. It was a nice
Where
journey
have
to
you
go
gone?
on.
Yeah. So good. I feel like the Smash invite aspect to those reveal trailers is like so sparingly used. Like you have, most of the time it's often for first party characters,
Mhm.
except for Joker in the opening.
Mhm.
But other than that, I can't think of another third party reveal where an invite showed up.
Isabel,
I
right?
guess Terry's, but
Oh, Terry's. Yeah, good call. Terry's is all bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no one said this yet. So, if we're talking representation, so not necessarily, our favorite picks, like we all want Sora, we all want Agumon, right? But if we're going for representation, I don't think anyone has really brought up that Sony PlayStation does not have a character in Smash at all, as far as I'm aware.
Loco's time.
Say what?
Loco Roco's time.
Parappa. I would love Parappa.
Yeah, the Patapons.
Yeah. But I think this would have been a more controversial topic or character if I had brought them up before the last maybe 2 or 3 months. But I feel like for a very long time, Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank has been kind of a secret mascot of Sony, kind of showing off. I remember Ratchet being a big deal on the PS3, showing off the graphics of that. I remember Ratchet kind of, heralding in the PS4 with his movie and his tie-in game, right? I think Ratchet is the closest to a Nintendo mascot character that Sony has that wouldn't be, a human, with human-sized skills. Maybe they can climb better than most people, but, Nathan Drake and spaced her name. Last of Us, Ellie.
Mhm.
I don't think they're necessarily would gel quite as easily. Like Snake kind of works, but you can tell he's like human-sized, human proportions compared to literally everyone else. I think Ratchet would fit in really, really well, and I think now more than ever, although they probably picked if they had picked Ratchet, they would have picked Ratchet decades ago, right? Not decades ago, a long time ago. But now more than ever, I think people would be accepting.
Now, Push, you probably know more than I do, but wasn't there a moment where Famitsu ran a Smash tournament and PlayStation participated in it?
Yeah. So that was like, it was a tournament that was open to a lot of Japanese companies. So you had like off the wall, like companies that are not video game related at all. Like there was this one company that I think was involved with pharmaceutical industry in Japan. So like it wasn't like just video game companies and Famitsu. It was any company, and they would be able to send their own employees to join that tournament.
And I know a lot of people kind of pointed at that as being like a symbol that or a sign that maybe a PlayStation character would get in. I think when you look at it, because I think it would be really cool to have Ratchet and Clank in there and start adding those sorts of universes together and having worlds collide. But I think that the goal of Xbox and PlayStation right now are very, very different.
Yeah.
Where Xbox wants to be on as many platforms as humanly possible, I think they also want to be on PlayStation. Whereas Sony wants to lock it down and keep it in house.
Yes.
So I don't think that Sony would likely play ball or pursue a crossover like that. Whereas Xbox is more willing to do so because they're hoping to build an audience on that platform.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, the Xbox ecosystem isn't just tied to Xbox anymore. It's cloud gaming on your phone, it's PC. They want it to be everywhere. And I guess one sign that maybe things are different for PlayStation is Kratos in Fortnite. That's something that wouldn't have happened years ago because you can play as Kratos and Chief on your Switch right now, which is kind of nuts. But like behind the scenes, we know that PlayStation do charge a premium for crossplay. So whether they are going to be open to allowing it to just be Switch only is another thing entirely. I wouldn't think so, but I mean, I guess it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility, but I don't think it's going to happen for this. I would say it's probably unlikely just because of the reasons that you guys have mentioned so far.
I think that's probably... I think you guys have brought up some good points.
Yeah, not impossible, but I'd love Kat, though. Kat would be such a good fit with the rest of the Nintendo cast, but I think her days are gone.
Don't say that. I'm so sad.
Breaks my heart.
Oh, man. Gravity Rush 3. Some sad stuff.
Maybe one day. Fingers crossed. So who do you guys think is most likely for E3?
Sora.
You're all
I don't think that.
We've listed so many good characters, I feel, but I don't know which one is likely. And that's kind of the thing of Smash. You never know what's likely because everyone always builds up this expectation in their head, and it's never that.
I do have I do have one more sleeper pick.
Oh, all right.
This one's never ever brought up, but it's one that could work. In some ways, is Mamechi, the character from Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Oh.
You mean Agumon, right? You mean Agumon.
No, but the original.
Tamagotchi. Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah. And he crossed over with Mario in the Mario Kart GP.
Yeah, I believe
by Bandai and everything like that. So it's a possibility, and it's a recognizable character for Japan, which it gets a lot of bias with character selection.
I think that's honestly as much as my argument for Agumon goes. I think Tamagotchi character would fit in just as well. That's a huge, part of gaming culture or history, not gaming culture currently. But that was definitely a massive milestone in my opinion. LCD, VPET games I think are underrepresented as video games in general. So I think that's a total possibility.
So
just as much as
Tamagotchi is the most likely pick.
No, not likely. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's super likely at all. But it's just someone as a sleeper out there pick that would still kind of fit.
God no, yeah, most likely, no way.
I think you guys are sleeping. I think you guys are really sleeping on Neopets.
I have a question. Something that is relevant right now and a huge part of gaming culture is mobile games. Yeah. And I don't know the character's name, but the dude from Dragalia Lost. Mm-hmm. How likely would that? I think that's the title of the game, right?
First party, right?
Yeah, he's first party. He has no representation as far as I'm aware. He might have a spirit. I don't know. But mobile gaming is gigantic in Japan. It's obviously gigantic everywhere, but it's very prominent in Japan. And I think, Nintendo has their partnership with Cygames, and Cygames is, I feel like, a studio we'll be hearing more and more about as time goes on. In my E3 predictions, when we finally get to that, I put that just Cygames could just come out with a Nintendo game, and that would be both surprising and not surprising at the same time, because it's been so long since Regalia Lost, and I'm sure they have a good relationship. So how likely do you guys think the Dragalia Lost kid would show up?
I feel like probably not very likely.
Yeah, I feel like Dragalia Lost isn't a game that's going to have a legacy. I think once it's done, it's probably done. And that's not necessarily stopped characters before. Like Mother 3 doesn't have a legacy worldwide. I mean, I guess it kind of does, but not in the same respect as most other.
Not intentional.
Not intentional.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
I had exhausted my list, I believe, for characters.
I would say
QB, Spyro. I have those on there.
Spyro would be cool.
Yeah.
In fact, I kind of want Spyro more than Crash. I think
I do too, but I feel like people... Go ahead.
I think Spyro's moveset should be way more varied. I mean, you can breathe fire while moving, which is something most characters can't do, because most are stationary when they do that. He can glide. There's a ton he can do.
Yeah, how many four-legged, like always on four legs, Smash characters are there?
Not a lot. Ivysaur, Duck Hunt.
Ivysaur,
Yeah.
Duck Hunt Dog. Not much.
Yeah, like a quadruped would be sweet. We definitely would like those characters are always so much fun too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for it.
Spyro.
That's the double reveal at E3, guys.
Crash and Spyro.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
That would put money
sick.
on a reveal, though. I'd probably say Breath of the Wild 2. I think that's just it's one of the most high-profile games, and what better way to sell some more fighters pass than having a character from that game?
Mm-hmm.
Who then? Who would you
I don't
want?
know. I think it's someone we don't even know.
Wet
I think
Ganon.
that's possible. Yeah.
It's gonna be Wet Ganon.
No, why would you say that?
Oh no.
Going back to a character getting an update, I mean, it's never been done before, and I'm throwing this out just randomly, but a character I could see getting sort of a nod could easily be a Zelda character that has some sort of reference in Breath of the Wild where their Final Smash references it in some way or something. I keep going back to thinking about how Cloud got an updated Final Smash, or that we got the small battlefield stage. And if they ever do a weird update like that again, I just don't think it's really easily predictable. But I do think a weird random update is possible. So it could just be, Breath of the Wild's Link could get an additional reference to Breath of the Wild 2 once the game comes out, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. I always wonder though, like, so John, if it is a Zelda character, if we run with that, do you think that means that Breath of the Wild 2 will be out later this year to coincide with the character?
I don't think it has to. I think they can release the character this year and still release the game next year, even if the character has no context to us. Because then you'd be like, I want to learn more about this character.
So do you think that the character will be revealed first in Smash, or would they have like a teaser trailer in Breath of the Wild 2 that would reveal them before?
So I think you run the trailer for... I guess you run the trailer for Smash first and have no context on who this character is. And there's some people in the chat saying, I know the character. How do you not know this guy? And you can explain who they are.
Oh yeah, I love them. I mean, again, they showed Luigi's Mansion 3 Luigi way early. It's not impossible.
Yeah, they do find a way to sneak in those little things, right? And even Byleth, they started work on, her and him before the game was out. Like Sakurai had an advanced copy just to understand like what this character was going to do and play like. So I mean, they're always thinking ahead that way too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Does anyone have anything left?
So a couple of things. For the mobile gaming, I want to say that I do think it is possible for a mobile game character to be added to Smash. I don't think there's there's no restriction on that. And Sakurai has even written about mobile games multiple times in his Famitsu columns. Think about video games. So there you go.
Fate character. That's a popular.
Yeah, he.
Gotcha.
I think he had a 2-part column on Monster Strike at one point.
Whoa.
Wow.
So
Whoa. There you go.
Yeah.
There's a cut, a deep cut. Well, maybe not to him, but I've heard of Monster Strike maybe once before.
yeah, it was much bigger in Japan, I think, than the West. But anyway, and in the chat, people keep on asking us our thoughts on 2B, and I do think 2B is a character with a reasonable chance. I think it's like a character that I think Sakurai would pick.
2B's on my list, so
yeah, I wouldn't be
Agreed.
surprised if they joined Smash.
It'd be fun as like a 2B and 9S tag team. So 9S has the hacking abilities, and whereas 2B's more like offensive. That could be quite fun.
Mm-hmm. The dodge mechanic, I think, would be really fun. Kind of like how Bayonetta has Witch Time or whatever. I think 2B has a similar dodge mechanic.
Yeah, kind of like Mithras, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I see a few people in the chat blowing up about Ryu Hayabusa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys think about his chances?
I mean, it's another legacy character, kinda. I guess which one you go for. Is it modern Ryu or is it the NES one?
I guess you get both, right?
Yeah, you have
What
4
an
costumes,
alt.
or 8 costumes, right? It could be both. I think with all of the picks everyone's chosen, all of them are possible. I think that's kind of the thing I've learned throughout Smash history, is that nothing is off the table, and whatever, because I mean, even Sephiroth, right? Like, obviously Sephiroth is high tier in the world of video games, but no one would have thought, getting Cloud in the first place was a big deal. And now we also have Sephiroth, like it just is. It is. You got a Minecraft guy. I mean, like, it could be anybody.
The exciting thing is we've mentioned a buttload of characters, and there's a very high chance that it's going to be 2 characters we haven't even mentioned in it.
Yes.
I know. They always get us like that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, yes, I agree. The Galia Lost guy is not going to get in, most likely. I agree. Unfortunately, Agumon probably doesn't have a huge chance. I feel like you can kind of sniff out the characters that maybe don't have as good of a chance, but there are far more characters that have a great chance than there are, slots left. So.
Totally. All right. Well, I think, are we ready to pick some E3 predictions?
Yes, so.
Yes.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Push, you want to start us off?
So E3, I think, I think Breath of the Wild 2 is probably almost a guarantee. I'm still a little hesitant on saying it's going to come out this year. I don't think it will. I think it will be next year, because I think that it's almost too much Zelda for this year.
Agreed.
This fiscal year, that's what I'm banking on. This fiscal year, which ends in March next year.
Yeah.
I think March next year is.
Yes.
Feel it in my gut.
I'm assuming there's a reason Pokemon Legends is dropping in January. Is what my gut's telling me. And then you have Breath of the Wild 2, and then Splatoon 3 rolling out, with presumably a new Switch model that we might be on the verge of seeing announced.
Yeah. And there's strong rumors of the model coming out this year. I think September for US and November for Europe was one of the big rumors going around. And usually when they do these big hardware revisions, they typically have a big Nintendo first party with it. Like new 3DS had Majora's Mask 3D in the West. I think maybe Monster Hunter in Japan. I can't quite recall. So they probably will have some big first party game with it, or at least one major game with it. But I do expect Breath of the Wild 2 is probably going to slip into March.
Yeah.
So what do you think that big game is going to be then?
Well, with the Switch Pro, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, their lineup right now is good. I mean, we know Prime 4 is coming. I don't expect that this year. I think that's still a while off.
No. Yeah.
Still creative directors for that game.
Whenever they show it, it'll be like a year afterwards.
Yeah. So that's the thing. If Zelda is, we're saying it's next year. Prime 4, not this year. Splatoon 3, not this year. So what is the big game? I'm kind of struggling to say. Like, I guess it could potentially be Mario Odyssey 2.
Yeah, I think there's always a Mario game being made, whether it's by the Mario Odyssey team or some other team. There's always a Mario game being made, and again, COVID exists and timetables have been all messed up, but Nintendo lately has been really into the whole announcing something only a few months before it comes out. And I think a Mario game could absolutely be tied in with the Switch Pro or new Switch or Switch Deluxe or whatever.
Yeah, Donkey Kong would be exciting, and I do expect it to be at E3. But is it something you launch a Switch Pro with, especially if it's 2D? I mean, it could look beautiful, but I don't think a 2D game is really what you sell a hardware upgrade with.
Yeah.
What if you sell it with something from Monolith Soft?
Oh,
yeah.
I feel like we're
That's
due
nice.
for something from them.
They have that new project.
Yeah, and historically they've been used as exclusives for new Nintendo consoles, like new Nintendo 3DS launched Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. So I feel like that might be a good solution for them to at least drive sales of the Switch Pro initially, and then you can roll into Pokemon, then you roll into Zelda, then you roll into Splatoon.
That's exciting, and they do kind of need the extra horsepower, because Xenoblade 2 and Definitive Edition, they do struggle a little bit in resolution. Like, in towns they drop pretty low, so it'd be great to pick that up with the hardware. And it's been a while since 2 now. I think Torna released in 2018, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's 3 years ago now.
Yep. I have a list on a separate page called Back on the Table. And it's a bunch of studios we haven't heard from for like 3 or more years. And the Monolith Soft is definitely on there. They have that concept art game that we know very little about. Torna was in 2018, like you mentioned. So it's been 3 years. That's usually a pretty good time for a studio to show up. I don't necessarily know if the games on this list will show up at E3 per se. No E3 has everything in it. No E3 has every single franchise all the time. But there are quite a lot of studios that we haven't heard from in a few years, like Mercury Steam with Samus Returns. I could see the Metroid Fusion, whatever they're teasing,
Metroid 5. It's time.
Metroid 5?
Oh.
Yeah, the Metroid Dread, they teased it in Prime 3 Corruption.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
2007.
Oh, man.
It's finally time for Metroid 5. Way too long.
My big prediction. So I'm skipping to the biggest one. I think it's time for a new IP. ARMS was 3 years ago. Splatoon was 6 years ago. I think it's time. Every 3 years. I don't know how far back that goes. I don't know if it's every 3 years forever. But so far, Splatoon 6 years ago, ARMS 3 years ago. I think it's time for a new IP.
Any idea what genre
this is?
Oh,
I didn't think that far ahead. I don't know. What would it be?
I don't know. This isn't a new IP, but I thought, what do you bring back the Ice Climbers in this sort of gritty Uncharted kind of
game? Yeah, I mean, sure.
I want Wave Race sequel. Some sort of play on that.
Wave Race would be amazing.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Chats is technically Game Builder Garage is a new IP, and yeah, they're right. I mean, it builds off Labo, but it's a new title.
That's true. What's it called? Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the ARMS team is the Mario Kart team as well, correct?
That's right, yeah.
So I also think Mario Kart has, again, maybe not E3, maybe the fall, winter Nintendo Direct or whatever, right? I feel like we're coming up on time for the next Mario Kart.
So I have a theory, because that was what I put on my list under big bold. So big bold prediction here. I think that they're going to release an upgrade to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which just received a patch after the last one before that was 2019. I think it just received one this past week. And I think they're going to roll out a Mario Kart 9 expansion for it as like a big add-on.
What a twist. Yeah.
To build on the existing consumer base and then roll out Mario Kart, like the Mario Kart 9 upgrade as just Mario Kart 9 in retail.
I'll scare you a moment, because Mario Kart Tour was data mined recently. And within there are traces to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so it seems like Tour and 8 Deluxe are going to have connectivity of some kind.
Oh.
So I wonder if the updates to do with that. And like maybe we can transfer our gacha characters to 8 Deluxe. Like maybe that's the idea.
No, do I have to start playing that? Oh
that was my fear too. Like, do I have to actually start grinding for characters?
Yeah.
now?
Oh no. And like all the ones we've missed, all the event ones that we've missed out on, like the 8-bit Mario.
That would be cool. I do have 8-bit Mario, so I'd be down for that. I don't have Donkey Kong Jr. though.
I have Donkey Kong Jr.
Oh my god, rub it in.
Oh man, I feel like we might be onto something, guys.
Yeah,
I think we might be.
Let's pretend we didn't hear that.
I don't want to start grinding for these characters, but it sounds like it could happen. I have a question for you guys though. Intelligent systems. They are usually one of the most rampant partners of Nintendo, but in recent years, they've not done that much. I mean, they did the Origami King, but Three Houses was largely outsourced to Koei Tecmo. And I'm not leading into Pound Upon here, even though they are the developers of that franchise. But I feel like WarioWare has gone a long time without an original game. We had Gold in 2018, 2017?
2018.
2018, okay. Yeah. But they largely reused older games for that iteration. And while the presentation was pretty high, with like fully voiced cutscenes, I still feel like the resources weren't as broad as your usual WarioWare game. But seeming as it has been 3 years since Gold, and it's been even longer since from the ground up new installment, I am willing to sit in a duck pond if there's not a new WarioWare game at E3.
This is like something you're actually going to do? You'll sit in a duck pond if...
Is it? Do you know any duck ponds?
There's one fairly nearby, but
cool,
I have to walk home all wet.
That's a John promise.
If it helps you feel better, Intelligent Systems WarioWare is on my list of back on the table. They come out with a game, I think, yearly, whether they, outsourced a lot of it or not, right? They do come out with a game yearly, and WarioWare, if we're comparing it to their history, it seems like it's time for WarioWare.
I had a...
There isn't.
They also worked on Dictionary 6 and 1 with camera function, so we might get a sequel to that.
Oh yeah, finally.
What do you think, Push? Do you think 9Volt's coming back?
I think it's time for WarioWare to come back to the Switch.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it should have been there a long time ago, because like the controllers, the way that you can use the Joy-Cons, they lend themselves to a lot of interesting mini-game possibilities. And I'd really like to see what type of new games they could come up with for the system.
Yeah.
And then you get your 9-volt Smash tie-in.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys in this chat here are American, but Brain Age came to Europe last year, and there was an IR sensor mode in there where you those rock, paper, scissors gestures they showed in the presentation. They're in Brain Age, and you answer calculations by putting fingers up or doing rock, paper, scissors, and that sounds amazing for WarioWare.
Mm-hmm.
And flip people off.
This is a side tangent, but the Brain Age wasn't released in the States, right?
Nope, unfortunately
not. I heard a theory about that, and that was because there was an iOS app that got sued because it said that it could increase your intelligence or something like that, increase your IQ, and so because of that, there's been a fear of marketing Brain Age as something that could increase your intelligence or increase your IQ. So that's why.
I love the lawsuit of I'm just as stupid as when I started this. That's so funny. I had a prediction regarding Wario, and I think that Wario Land is going to come back, and I think that Way Forward's going to do it.
Oh, interesting. I
interesting.
Goodfeel would be the go-to guys for that, because they did the Shake Dimension. And it's been, was it 2018 that they finished Crafted World?
I feel like you're right.
But I prefer Way Forward though.
That's my guess. I feel like they'd be a perfect partner, and I think they work together on the what was that the big what was that game? It's like the Battle Brawlers or something. Bakugan. Didn't they do
Yeah.
that? And that's a
They
Nintendo
did
exclusive.
Bakugan.
Yeah.
How could we forget?
I didn't. That's burned into my memory.
Yeah.
But
So I
if
feel like
Way Forward
they-
does Wario Land, then that means that we have to get like Wario in a bikini because Way Forward does a lot of.
Someone's drawing this right now.
It's
I already
that
have it
already
saved on my
exists.
phone.
That exists.
if you're drawing that, can you tweet it at PushDustIn?
If we're all agreeing that there's a chance that WarioWare could show up, does that mean we all have to sit in a duck pond if we're wrong?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, fantastic,
I'm down. I'll do it. If you guys are doing it, I'll do it.
All right.
cool. I don't know if I have a duck pond. I'm gonna have to drive a while.
Well,
Go ahead.
just get like a figure of a duck and put it next to you.
Yeah, there
Or,
you
like,
go. I'll get a rubber
doll or
ducky.
something. Yeah.
I'll find a pond, get a rubber ducky. It's a duck pond.
Sorry,
Go
does
ahead.
anyone? I was gonna say it's been a while since we've had a Kirby game.
Yep,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
on my
we're
list
working
too.
on a big one.
Yeah, I feel like we're due for a biggie.
Yeah.
That's been
They-
rumored, I
um,
think, even.
Oh, I'm not sure I've heard the rumor. John, what's the rumor about?
Oh, just that Hal was working on it or something like that. Like that.
There's
Yeah.
they data mined like Kirby Fighters or something like that.
Yeah,
and there
something like that.
is
Ooh.
controls for Kirby to move in the third dimension in there, and that's what started the rumor of it being a 3D Kirby. And then combined with the next Kirby game is going to be big. That's what a lot of people are thinking.
Yeah, and Star Allies is the end of that like era of games. They said that outright, like that. So
Yeah.
we shouldn't expect another Star Allies kind of thing. And that's really exciting because for me,
man.
I feel like Kirby there's been great modern Kirby games. Like Robobot's one of my favorites, but I've just not been excited in a while. Like Star Allies was fine, but I kind of need that new era of Kirby, and putting it in 3D, that's what it needs.
Yeah, it does. Oof, that would be great.
I'm pretty sure Hal said that they had some announcements this year, or they were working on some big announcements. So I'm kind of half expecting something to show up. I don't know what, but a big 3D Kirby game would be a really good almost finisher to the E3 showcase, I think.
What if that's the big heavy duty Switch Pro game? Is a 3D
man.
Kirby game.
Kirby 3D.
Switch Pro with Kirby is ballsy.
Yeah, it takes
I'm here for
the original model. Like the original model can't handle it. Kirby's just gone too far.
It's
Call
just
of
too
Duty
spherical
style.
now.
Yeah,
Oh no.
ray tracing. There's ray tracing 4K Kirby.
Kirby's got a gun.
What do you guys think about the Mario plus Rabbids team? I don't know if they have worked on anything, but it's been since 2017 since they've, since that game came out. I don't know if they've been dispersed to other teams at Ubisoft, but
Didn't they prematurely rebrand the Rabbids account in Mario as Mario for a day and then change it back?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, that
Oh,
is, they did. It'd be insane of them not to. It was such a huge success. For a long time, it was one of the only third-party games to hit 1 million. And there's been a few since then. But it was a huge success. And it'd be crazy of them not to. And they're such a passionate team as well.
Yeah, I totally think it's possible. And they really are. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think they did a survey, a public survey, where they're like, what kind of Mario character would you like to see next, in this game? And it's they had Wario and Waluigi and a few other characters. So I feel like they're definitely thinking about it. It's also the only game, let me point out, to mention Waluigi without in not a sports setting. They had a Waluigi Rabbid. So kudos to them. So I feel like that's probably pretty likely. And Ubisoft has a showcase, so I'd imagine it would be there.
Yeah, it wasn't theirs last time, huh?
Yeah,
I think it was
Miyamoto
both
showed up.
Nintendo and Ubisoft that it appeared at the Rabbids.
Yeah, Miyamoto showed up and held the gun.
The gun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I think for any concept forever, I don't even remember what someone was dismissing. They're like, that'll never happen with a Nintendo game. I think if you can have a game with Mario holding a gun, I think any type of Nintendo game can exist because they'll just Nintendoify it, right?
Yeah.
So I think any concept can exist after Mario plus Rabbids.
Mhm.
I have another one on my back on the table list. What do you guys think of the next Mega Man?
Ooh.
We have it was 2018. 2018 is when Mega Man 11 came out. That was what 3 years ago. 3 years ago. Time for another one.
What are we getting? X9?
No. Battle Network. We're not, but I want Battle Network. So bad.
Legends 3?
Oh, that's
Legends
the
3.
dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Oh my god, Legends 3. A lot of people would lose it if we got Legends 3.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever play the demo for it?
It didn't
Did
come
you?
out.
I didn't know if it ever came out or was playable at
This is what's happening. So the prototype demo was going to be a costed demo. So you'd buy it from the eShop, and it was pretty much done. And they even showcased it during an event, and then they just didn't release it and canceled the entire project.
I don't remember what it was called, but it was this like Capcom.com like forum thing where you could like vote on characters. Or I believe that's what took place. I remember being a part of that process and so excited and drawing fan art and being super stoked, and then it just disintegrated, just gone.
Yeah. It burns so much, and somewhere in Capcom's vault is just a completed prototype demo that they were going to release, and
Man.
yeah, it's stuck to time.
So is that a
Mega
yes?
Man?
Is that a yes? Mega Man 3 locked in? Or Legends 3?
Well, we can't sit in a duck pond. We gotta find something else now. So,
yeah. So one last one on my list, I believe, back on the table. ND Cube comes out with Mario Party games quite often.
Mm-hmm.
I think either yearly or every other year. And Super Mario Party came out. I'm looking at my list. Came out in 2000. Yep. But they came out with Clubhouse games in 2020. So do you think 2021 has a Mario Party game?
Yeah, I think that's why they
I'd say
added
almost
online.
undoubtedly. But then they gave online to the first one, which is really weird to do if you're like, doing a second one.
yeah, right. That kind of threw me off as well. So I was
Maybe-
like, wait a minute.
Maybe they just didn't like crack the code of online, and once they did, they're like, "Oh, we could just add this to the previous game since
Maybe.
we've already worked on it."
Well, or they might be trying to like generate interest in that one to then get people like interested in a sequel. But yeah, I don't really know. I feel like I feel like I would have been right there with you, and then they added online to this other one, and I'm like, well, wait a sec.
Maybe they're doing
Yeah.
Clubhouse games too.
Maybe. I mean, it's people underappreciate how much the first game sold. I'm checking it right now, but I believe it's something like 12 million units.
What?
I'll
Wait,
fact check
Mario
that.
Party or Clubhouse?
Oh, I wish it was Clubhouse.
Yeah, I
because
was
Super
gonna say,
Mario-
wow. You're right. I didn't.
People
expect
really
that.
like chess.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in like the top 20 or whatever, right?
It's in the top 10.
Yeah,
10. Wow.
it's
Wow.
Mario Party.
Okay, so here's the data. So Super Mario Party sold 14.79 million units.
Ah,
Kidding.
wow.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's wild.
So
Jeez.
do you do a sequel to that, or do you keep building a...
Cool. I feel like
Yeah.
I know it's normal for every other studio, but Nintendo is a big fan of like sending something out as is and then never touching it again. So I think a sequel. I think they
Yeah.
they
The
just
King of
move on.
Trash in chat just said, I feel like Super Mario Party 1 getting online was a stealth server test. And, yeah, maybe.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's
I can
that's
see
how
that.
I
Bad
feel.
idea.
Big brain. That's awesome. I never even crossed my mind.
Well, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One pretty wild thing that happened last year, Nintendo brought Next Level Games. I mean, they've been partners for years and
Yep.
years and years, but they're
Yep.
now a proper first-party development studio. And now that they're being funded by Nintendo, I imagine that they're going to expand and and be more than just a one-project studio. And Luigi's Mansion 3 was 2019, I think.
Yep. I have that.
God.
Yep.
Yeah, time's an illusion now.
No, it means nothing.
Yeah. And there's a ton of things I want them to do, but I kind of feel like Next Level Games they thrive when they've been given a new IP. Like, I would love them to return to Strikers. I'd love them to return to Punch-Out. But I do feel like maybe that they could give new life to an IP that hasn't been touched in years. And I'm not sure what that is. Like, do you guys have any ideas what they could revive?
Star Tropics.
Who did? Oh,
Star Tropics.
yeah.
That's a good one, Push.
Yeah. Who did Excite Bike?
That was Monster Games.
Gotcha. They did Punch Out. Next Level did Punch Out. I think someone made a joke about it earlier, but I think Ice Climbers could be. I feel like we're running out of IPs to bring back from Nintendo's history, unless
Nintendo has 200 IPs.
The mysterious Marasime Castle. Now
I was about to say. Other than the video you just made recently, John, about that game, I feel like as far as like the long-standing, whenever you get an NES Classic kind of situation going, the hits, right? The hits, I believe, are not running dry, but I can't think of too many that would have like a not pizzazz attached to the name, but a recognizability that if someone brought a series back, we'd be like, wow, they brought that series back. I feel like for many people, Famicom Detective Club, that was the first time they've ever heard of it when they announced the remakes recently. They are remakes, correct?
Yeah, they're remakes.
Yeah. So I feel like the pool of games, while still much more than one, is getting more and more limited of stuff they could bring back and have that wow factor of like.
I mean, even from B tier, there's still Jacob in the chat mentioned Kid Icarus, Henry mentioned Rhythm Heaven. There's F-Zero. There's Star Fox, Chibi Robo. Maybe that's like a B minus. Like
Star Fox retro now. Star
Fox hasn't had a new game since the Wii U.
Yeah,
they showed up in what was it? What was that?
The
next level doing Star Fox would be good.
It would. Next level thrived in animation. Like Punch-Out and Luigi's Mansion really drove that, and that is something I think you could do in Star Fox, like having really animated either cutscenes or just really animated text boxes or something.
Yes, the portraits I think they could do amazing things with the portraits when they're talking over the comms or whatever. I think they could do really cool things with the portraits because they do very well with animations. Luigi's Mansion is like, has situational animations all over the place. Stuff you see very few times because you interact with a very specific item in a very specific room. I think they'd thrive with Star Fox for sure.
Yeah.
I know we got golf coming up. I really hope that they go back to Strikers.
I'll say, man, it had so much personality.
So much fun.
I really believe the Daisy fan base came from Strikers.
I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah. I kind of glossed over it earlier, but Punch-Out. It's been a long time since the last game. It was 2009, which is 12 years ago. And it's crazy to think that the gap between Punch-Out Wii and now is very similar to the gap between Super Punch-Out, the Super Nintendo game, and the Wii game. That was around 14, 15 years. So we're 3 years off that gap. That's how long Punch-Out's been idle.
What?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that old at all.
It doesn't. But if Next Level Games could come back with... the Punch-Out Wii's fantastic, but it was very iterative of... Like, it had most of the same characters back, most of the same strategies, but they revived it with the animation and the visuals. It looked great. But I think they can do a sequel with an entirely new cast and put it in space and call it Punch-Out: The Ring of Saturn.
I can see that.
Ring of Saturn.
You mentioned them, even though Luigi's Mansion 3 came out in 2019, you mentioned that they do now have more funding. And interesting enough, I did a bit of research that they overlapped a bit of Luigi's Mansion's development time, I think with Captain America. So they worked on the Captain America Sega game.
Right. Yeah.
So it is not. It is with precedents that they have overlapped development in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it has only been 2 years since Luigi's Mansion 3, it is not impossible that they started on something before Luigi's Mansion 3 was done.
Yeah, of course. Because like the people who plan the games aren't probably the people who are doing QA testing and doing the polishing and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yep. So games don't have to come out the moment that they're announced. So they could absolutely announce something for later this year or early next year, or even for next year in general, and it could still be something that they have enough of it done to show off.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like we're due for moving on to another prediction. I feel like we're due for like a ton of DLC for some of the existing games. Like Animal Crossing needs a huge update.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like their most successful game, and I also think new Pokemon Snap is pretty prime for more content.
Yeah.
Pokken received DLC.
But that map can fit more islands easily.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So I'm kind of like half. I just don't know when they would announce Pokemon Snap DLC. Like, I feel like doesn't Pokemon usually do its own thing before E3?
Usually.
So
Yeah,
like
maybe. I think it would be in its own little pocket. So I mean, like they still haven't shown off more Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, or more Legends. So whenever that gets shown off, I could see an announcement of more DLC happening. For Pokken, they didn't necessarily have DLC that you like. As far as I remember, they didn't have DLC that you buy. They had the Deluxe or whatever it was called. DX, I think, for Pokken. But they did have the arcade version, which did have... Oh, no, they did have DLC, didn't they?
Pokken on Wii U didn't have DLC. That released as the raw package. And then Arcade got all the extra characters.
Yes.
But then DX came out with arcade characters. And then DX got DLC.
Yes. Yes. So I think the history is there for new Pokemon Snap to add more. I mean, if you really think about it, you don't need a sequel to New Pokemon Snap for a long time. It is the template to just add more for a long time. I think it's totally possible.
Yeah.
I think there's space. Someone data mined it and they found space in the photo decks as well.
That makes a lot of sense.
Well,
and
yeah.
Especially during lockdown, during COVID. Like, this is the perfect time to build upon older games rather than building new ones from scratch. So I would expect a lot of DLC.
Yep. Any other games outside of Animal Crossing and Pokemon Snap that you guys think might get it?
I think this is tangential. If anyone wants to answer first, go ahead, because I think I might move the conversation forward a little bit.
Sure.
I don't think of anything exciting. Yeah. I mean, we know Hyrule Warriors is getting some. That's not exciting.
Well, then, yeah, I think we're now at the age of the Switch's lifespan that we're going to start getting into sequel territory where different series will start getting their final game on the Switch. And if they got a game very early on, like, Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Splatoon, we're starting to get those sequel games as time goes on. So I think we're going to get our second Mario. I think we're going to get, obviously, Splatoon 3, obviously Breath of the Wild 2. But
maybe 1, 2, 3 Switch?
Say what? Well, yeah, no. I mean, sure.
What's the
right,
sequel
though.
called? 1, 2, 3, 2 Switch?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 2 Switch.
You bring this up as a theory, but we are already getting it. Breath of the
Breath
of the Wild 2 and Splatoon 3, they're an indication that this is already happening.
Yeah, I think we're there for absolutely. I think because usually when you make DLC, oftentimes it's made by just a section of the development crew, the development team, and then the other team starts working on the next game. I think a lot of the boats have been missed for games that already exist to get more DLC. Obviously, Animal Crossing is a huge exception, but I feel like enough time has passed with so many different series that we're just going to be getting the next one for a lot of them.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah. I'm trying to think of more like sequels that could be coming up, but I mean, like Mario Odyssey 2 is very likely. I know there's rumors of the Tokyo studio handling Donkey Kong, but they often jump multiple franchises within different teams of EPDs. So I can definitely see different departments working on Donkey Kong and Mario at the same time.
Yep, I think so. I think they've done that previously. I think previously they have. I mean, Nogami, the Splatoon guy, he worked on Animal Crossing, and he's also, I assume, working on Splatoon 3. So and that's far enough along, way further along than you would think if he hadn't been working on it until Animal Crossing came out. So I think jumping teams is very common.
Yeah.
And I also think we're probably due for another Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Or a remake or something.
At least a reveal.
Something, right?
Is this another Koei Tecmo game, or is this just a flat-out Intelligent Systems game?
I don't feel comfortable saying either. I feel like they could throw a curveball and it could be some other studio making some other variation, right? Because I mean, like, it's obviously not to the same scale, but we just got the Fire Emblem 30th anniversary, the new translation, right? We got the remake of the old game, but it was on 3DS. It has the red-haired girl. Escapes me. But they're really not necessarily experimenting with Fire Emblem, but it isn't one track. They're kind of doing a bunch of different things with the series. So I could easily see, a curveball, something we don't expect, a different team working on it, or a smaller project, or a huge project, or an outsourced project. It's really tough to safely guess either of them.
What do you think about Xbox Game Pass coming to Switch?
Oh, this is spicy.
We're talking a lot about first party, but that would be a huge third party offering.
It would, yeah. So when we're talking Xbox Game Pass, we're talking xCloud on Switch, right?
Yes.
I would assume primarily, although maybe they could offer some downloadables like Doom Eternal or Minecraft or stuff like that. Ori, yeah.
Yeah. It would be massive for Microsoft. Nintendo's just the one. They're kind of the cling there. Would they do it? And I don't know. I mean, they're out for cloud gaming, it seems. We've had Control, Resident Evil 7 was out in Japan, so was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. They've definitely done cloud games, but would they be out for Xbox having their own broad servers with all of these third-party games on there? It's tough to say.
I think either way, I think we'll see Xbox at some point.
Yeah.
I think if xCloud doesn't come, I don't think the partnership, I don't think anyone's suggesting this either, but I don't think the partnership between the two will end. I think we'll continue to see. Do you think we'll get a Banjo game? No. I mean, could we get Rare Replay?
I'd love this so much.
Yeah.
I think the smallest thing I'm kind of expecting out of this is maybe like a Halo Infinite, just kind of like a single Halo Infinite xCloud app. So it's xCloud, but without all the other games, just Halo. I think that could happen.
Yep. I genuinely think they will find some sort of. It will feel compromised because I think PC Games Pass already feels compromised, doesn't it? Kind of a lesser offering.
It's just a smaller lineup.
Yeah, they have to curate both libraries.
Yeah, so I think we will get, if we do get Xbox Game Pass, I think it'll be an additional separate curated experience.
It'll be Game Pass for Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it a lot, and I think one of the big pieces that Nintendo needs to improve on, and a lot of analysts say it too, is their subscription revenue. Now, I know that Game Pass isn't their service, but they would presumably generate monthly profit on it, so they can treat it as a secondary service. And if Xbox curates their IP to be the only software offered on it, then all of a sudden that opens up the door for third parties to continue selling their titles on eShop, and Nintendo keeps taking that money. But even if select third-party titles are made available through the service, Nintendo's still taking money from people who are subscribed and playing those games on a monthly basis. So it would have to be curated, yeah, but I think that they'd be able to make it work in a way that made, one, the Switch version special, and two, allowed Switch users to like play the first party Xbox software, which is ultimately what they want, especially with Halo Infinite having free multiplayer. As you mentioned, John, like that seems like kind of a no-brainer. But you had an idea, Push. I cut you off.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I agree with you that I think if it comes, it would probably be xCloud, but it'd also be heavily curated, because I don't think it would be everything that's on the Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah,
I feel like
go ahead. Oh, sorry, no, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
oh well, they are upgrading the xCloud servers a lot too at the moment, because right now they're running on Xbox One S blades, so you're not getting the Series X experience. But later this year, they're upgrading them all to Series X, so we'll get all the next gen upgrades soon. So maybe that's why they're waiting on Switch, just to have it so it's like the ideal streaming experience.
I also feel like the more we talk about how curated it is, the more the line blurs between really it being very much different than what they're doing now. Because we already have, I think you have to sign in to Xbox to play Minecraft. Is that correct?
That is right, yeah.
And Ori, I think.
Yeah, so it is if it's highly curated, and it's the same games, nearly the same games we'd have gotten otherwise. Obviously, I think there's going to be some third-party games that can't run on the Switch without xCloud, right? It just doesn't seem like a stretch to say that xCloud could come to the Switch, because it's not a whole lot different. And I think the plus and the minus is that you have another subscription service on the Switch, so maybe that they're hesitant about that. But the plus is that if you weren't going to be able to run those third-party games on there anyway without the help of Xbox, it's, Xbox's streaming could be a solution to get more games on the Switch than would have otherwise not been able to run on it. So I just don't think it's a whole lot different than what they're doing now, so it doesn't seem that shocking if they did it.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to Smash, like I don't know why Nintendo would go back and get like character like Banjo-Kazooie unless there were bigger plans in place. Otherwise, that character it only hurts them to include that character. So I think they probably have something planned, and I think streaming for some of the higher demanding games it's going to be the only option. But I also think it's not a stretch to like see Microsoft maybe go through the effort of porting a couple. Whether that be like some of like the original Halo trilogy, or some of the like Rare Replay. There are a couple of games from it.
Especially with Master Chief Collection, because I know as a whole that takes up a lot of storage, which is a problem with the Switch. But on PC, you can download all those games individually. It's like you could just sell Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3 on the eShop.
I could see that easily. Speaking of eShop, how do we feel about NSO systems being added? Will we get any more if they come out with a Switch Pro?
I hope so. Oh man, what if they pull a new 3DS and for some reason make like N64 exclusive to the Pro?
I thought about that for a bit, and I think they won't do it only because
it's bonkers.
Say what?
It's bonkers.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that hasn't stopped them before, but you are paying for it, right? So if you have a normal Switch, you're still giving them $20 a year to not have access to it. Does that make sense? So even though we're all paying for the same service, to not have access to like N64 or Game Boy or whatever, right, would be when it was separated for the new 3DS. That it was just separated in the sense that you just couldn't buy those specific games. But in this case, everyone's paying the exact same amount. Only some people are locked out.
But
So
Taco,
I
you're not
think
thinking big brain company move, which is to introduce a new tier that would be exclusive to
no, why would you
Nintendo
say
Switch
that?
Pro.
Take it back.
Yeah.
Take
Yeah.
it back.
Would that be a bad thing, do you think? Like, would you pay that amount? I guess is the question.
I
Like
guess it
if
depends
it's like
what they added.
if it's
Yeah.
like $15 a month instead of 10, and you have a choice to upgrade at any time or downgrade at any time, and you just gain a selection of an additional 2 games or 5 games or whatever. Probably not 5 games a month, but they could add some value for some people.
Now, what do you call that expanded service? Because I'm thinking new Nintendo Switch Online.
Like deluxe. I feel like deluxe is underused.
Deluxe, yeah.
Deluxe is underused. I feel like the next Switch Pro could easily be Switch Deluxe. I feel like the subscription could easily be
I
deluxe.
think you're right. Yeah.
Though
Yeah,
the only
sounds
issue
good.
with that is that they have so many games with deluxe in their title that would make it seem like they're exclusive to that system.
That's true.
You
Yeah,
say
you
that.
need you
but
need
they
the Switch
called-
Deluxe for Mario U Deluxe.
You say that, but they called the
I know.
the
Nintendo's
next
not the
console
best.
a Wii U after a Wii, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not afraid of making people confused.
In fact, they're hoping to do it. That's good stuff. Outside of that, I always rack my brain trying to think of like third parties and but I feel like Xbox would be the biggest thing that they could get this year.
I mean,
If it
Resident
happens.
Evil has been long
Oh, yeah.
rumored. I think maybe leaked. I can't quite recall, but it seems like Resident Evil's coming.
Oh yeah, I
8.
could see that.
And we
Are
had
you talking-
an RE Engine Monster Hunter and RE Engine Ghosts and Goblins was RE Engine, wasn't it? So
Yes, it was.
clearly they can run it on the Switch, and
And it looks
I wouldn't
so
be surprised
good.
like a Revelations 3 kind of thing.
Yeah, Monster Hunter looks really good.
Yeah, I
So
think
would that RE be? Would that be Village or would that be a new game?
I reckon in a new game, like kind of like Monster Hunter Rise, where it's like built specifically for
Mm.
the Switch, and then maybe
cool.
ported to other things down the line.
yeah, you mentioned Revelations 3, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that size of game could easily be on the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more likely than not that we get more Resident Evil games for the Switch. Maybe not specifically at this specific E3 because they just had their Resident Evil presentation only not very long ago, and it wasn't just for 8, it was for all of Resident Evil, their anniversary presentation. But
Mhm.
the anniversary goes all year, so it's not impossible that they show up at E3.
What
Still
if
time
what if
to
Resident
show us
Evil is
Smash
pro
character.
launch title? I mean, that's got to be a pretty heavy hitter
Oh,
technically.
yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
There you go.
Yeah.
Move out of the way, Kirby.
That's how you get Leon Kennedy in Smash, Push.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your boy.
Dude, Leon's awesome. That'd be a great. I think it'd be very little people. Okay, I shouldn't say that. Let's say very little people would be upset, but I feel like no matter which Smash character gets in, it's a slot away from
It's gonna
somebody.
upset someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Leon would be pretty dang cool. I think that seems to be out of all the Resident Evil characters, that seems to be the most Nintendo in my
For
opinion.
sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Leon or Jill, I think, would be cool.
I mentioned this earlier. I really want a Battle Network, a Mega Man Battle Network collection.
Oh man.
Is it a battle royale?
No. I would love that.
Mega Man 99.
Oh yeah.
Oh
there
my
you go.
god! Yeah, there you go. That's it. You brought me back on board.
There you go. I saved it.
There
There's
are
still
so
a
many
lot of collections
cancelled.
we could do. I mean, we
Do
have we could do Legends as well as a collection, like 1, 2, and Trombone.
Yep. Oh my god! Please.
Why haven't they done that?
And the weirdest thing too is in Japan they had widescreen PSP ports, and they could then as a basis for like the new ones.
That's what they did for. Granted, completely different studios, but that's what they did for Parappa. For Parappa HD,
Right. Yeah.
they took the PSP copies. Man, any Mega Man. Honestly, I feel like it's time for Mega Man. Whatever
Mhm.
ends up happening, I think it's time. Back to the Battle Network thing. They had their anniversary, and very recently, and they said that because of COVID, they weren't able to announce a Battle Network announcement during the Battle Network anniversary, but that was in March. And so this has been, a couple months later. I think it's possible we get whatever that Battle Network announcement was at E3 because it's a small announcement. I feel like we haven't really tapped into the filler announcements quite as much, if that makes sense. The stuff between the good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I can see it happening. It feels like one of those games that might sort of headline a showreel. Like they have that be the main thing of a smaller sort of presentation at the end.
Oh yeah, I can see that too. Absolutely. I think I have exhausted my list. Oh, one last thing. I did mention this previously, very briefly. I think this just has to be said. I don't think it's going to happen at this E3, but I think in this time frame, it's possible that it has begun. I think it's possible that Sakurai is working on his next game either soon or has already started the planning stage, because Sakurai started on Smash Ultimate before the DLC was done for Smash 4. Only the planning, not the actual production of the game. But he has been known to even do something as small as this like Beetle Tamagotchi game.
Wishy King.
And so, yep. And so I don't think it necessarily is going to be something huge. I don't necessarily think it's going to be something small. But if he's telling the truth about Smash Ultimate ending, theoretically, DLC takes a slight less effort than an entire full main game of Super Smash Brothers. So I think it's totally possible that he, at some point within the DLC's lifespan, that he has started on his next project. If he's going
main
to make it.
issue with that is that Sakurai does not work for a studio, and so because of that, he always has to borrow people. So for all, he borrowed the Game Arts people, and then for Kid Icarus, he tried to make a studio, but that like really failed, and that's why like Kid Icarus Uprising is kind of a mess of a development cycle, because they just took people from all these different studios and tried to make them work together. And then that's why when it came time for Smash for 3DS and Wii U, they were like, okay, we're gonna go with an established company and use their staff. And so for those 3 games, they've used Bandai Namco now. So it's just like, where would Sakurai go to actually make this game? That's the big question.
I don't think he put when he started planning Smash Ultimate, I don't think he had a team in place. I think
he did.
I think
he had Bandai Namco already.
Well, what I mean is, I don't. Hold on. Let me bring it up.
Okay.
He had mentioned that he just did the planning stages for Smash Ultimate before the DLC was done. So he didn't start production with a team until after the DLC was done, which means it was likely just him and a small amount, if not no other person, when it came to planning the next game. I don't necessarily mean he is. I don't necessarily think we are going to be getting a Sakurai game at E3. I think that ideas are turning, plans are being made. Well,
he has a proposal.
Yes,
probably.
I think.
So,
yeah.
I think it's not. I know the common opinion is that Sakurai should take a break, but you can take a break, between games and still be planning the next one. A lot of different studios. I keep going back to Pokemon, but Pokemon start planning their next game before the current game is done. Not very far before, maybe a few months. But I think it's totally possible that whatever the next Sakurai game is, if he knows that Smash Ultimate DLC is finalized or going to be finalized, I think it's totally possible that he has begun on the next game. Maybe not in production, but just a plan, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. Like, I think like the actual plan or have some sort of ideas to pitch, because like the hardest part of one of the hardest parts of game development is actually pitching a game and getting a studio to sign on and to get the funding for it, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm sure he has a list of game ideas and project pitches that he can take to try to see if he can get funding or Nintendo's approval if he's still going to work with Nintendo.
Yeah,
At
it
one
doesn't even
point,
be
we know,
Nintendo.
yeah, he doesn't need the Nintendo. At one point, he was thinking about working with Oculus for the VR.
Oh,
So,
Interesting.
like, he had a couple of meetings with those people.
no kidding.
Yeah. So, like, he could work on something that's not Nintendo at any time. It's just that he's worked with Nintendo, maybe because of Iwata.
Yeah.
Iwata was
Promise.
his rock, and so now that Iwata has passed away, it is kind of unknown what's going to happen next. Like Nintendo will probably want Sakurai to come back for the next Smash, but it's also not guaranteed.
Yeah, I think even if it's the next Smash, I think because DLC is less of a ask than the full
Mhm.
game, I
Yeah.
don't think it's out of the ordinary for he multitasks quite a bit.
Yeah.
Whether that's healthy or not, I don't know, but he multitasks quite a bit. I don't think it's impossible that even if it's with the exact same team that the gears are turning for the future. I don't think he's going to
Yeah.
wait until the day Agumon comes out and Sora for the next game to be made.
That'll
Yeah,
be
I
quite the
mean-
day.
I just wonder like what studio Sakurai will work with and what kind of genre he'll tackle, because
That's impossible.
Be
yeah,
anything.
it's like
Yeah,
there's so
Meteos.
many options.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
assumption is that if I were Nintendo, I would not want him to go to another project.
Yeah.
Because I would want him to go to another like internal project. Because letting him go could take him completely out of the picture for the next Smash Ultimate or successor, So my assumption is Nintendo's going to be like, "Okay, like we built an entire marketing campaign around having Sakurai show you these fighters.
Mhm.
Even if we're not going to continue doing DLC, so we'll put him on this project. It's a smaller budget project, and it should wrap up development in time for him to begin doing that, like starting the next Smash for another console. So if I'm Nintendo, I feel like there's more to lose in letting him go to another company like Oculus.
Yes.
What if
Def-
Sakurai goes to PlayStation and makes PlayStation All Stars 2?
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh.
He's got to put Cat in. He's got to put Cat in, and then I'm sold.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I think
That's why he killed Mario in every trailer.
yeah, that was his revenge. I think it's not. Oh, where was I going with this? I totally lost my train of thought. I think. Oh, okay. So it's not impossible that even if there is a next Smash Brothers being made, and that he does take a part in it, for Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, his baby Kirby, he took a kind of backseat role, I believe, with that game, and had a much more hands-off experience with it. I don't know if it's his style, but if a Smash Brothers game is made, it's not impossible that he takes a more back seat to whatever the next game is,
It's
because he's
kind of
done it in
hard.
the past.
I feel like everything that Sakurai has said about making Smash and everything like that is that he does feel like a sense of responsibility to continue making Smash, because like out of all the games that he's worked on, Smash is a game that is enjoyed by a worldwide fan base. It has a huge, it sells huge numbers, right? And he also gets to work on all these different characters from all these different creators and stuff like that. And him creating Kirby and then like letting go of Kirby, I think he knows that feeling of when other people use your character.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's why he's so attentive to how characters are represented in Smash, making sure that he has the creator's understanding and make sure that he understands the creator as well of that character and try to emulate it as perfectly as possible, because he feels like it's a sense of duty almost. And I feel like because of that, it's very hard for him to let go of Smash sometimes, because he fears, what's going to happen with all the whole series that I built up with all these characters that I have the honor of using. What happens if they're misrepresented, or the original creators of the characters are upset? It's because I didn't step in and ensure that their baby was taken care of. And so I feel like it's gonna be very difficult for Sakurai to step away. Eventually he's going to have to. And he's gonna have to train some sort of successor, but who that will be, I think is gonna be very difficult.
Did he not mention recently about needing a successor or wanting to think about having a successor?
So that was in for the Tokyo Game Show. There's a game designer award, and Sakurai for that award, basically they have to play through hundreds of games and try to figure out which one is like the most creative or the most unique. And it's kind of a burden for Sakurai and the team, because they're creating stuff themselves, and then they have to go and judge other people's creations as like kind of like there's God. And it does take up a lot of time to go through and play through all these titles and be a judge for this committee. And Sakurai was saying, like, this cannot continue. I can't keep doing this forever. We got to find a way to resolve this award selection process. And
Gotcha.
that was earlier this year. So I do think that he is thinking about, like, successors and how he can manage his time and everything like that, because he is getting older. He's over 50 now. So it is time to start looking at that. But I think that if I had to guess, I think that he would still come back for the next Smash.
Smash is a very, I would say, obvious continuation of his design philosophies in just about every game he makes. So I know, again, a lot of people have the meme that Sakurai is overworked, and Sakurai, he is very, very hardworking. But I think he enjoys making Smash. It is the type of game he has made since Kirby. I think someone unearthed recently some Kirby concept art that even Sakurai had forgotten about himself. That in the original pitch for Kirby, or design documents for Kirby, that if you knocked an enemy off the screen, it would do that blast effect. That's in Smash. So Smash Brothers is a just a continuation and an evolution of the types of games he's always made. So I think, a lot of people want him off Smash for his better health, but I think he enjoys working on Smash.
I think DLC production is a lot better for Sakurai, because one thing about Sakurai is that he's very obsessive about details, for better or for worse. So like that can be very difficult to manage in a bigger team. And so I think these DLC characters and working on a handful of characters at a time is actually better. And I think at least with the way that he's talked about DLC and the way that he's talked about base game, I think he's happier making DLC. Like, I think if he could continue it, he would, because I think it's good for his health, it's good for his time management, and there's less pressure, because there's not like so many deadlines that you have to follow. There's 10 instead of 100 that you have to follow when you release a packaged version of a game.
Part of me always wonders too, because Sakurai's freelance, if he just like the way he hosts, like composes himself like publicly, I think is very smart. Because what he'll do is he'll be like, this is it, like this is it for the Smash DLC, like this is it, and then the whole time, like if we have no clue, but maybe he's negotiating contracts for a third pass. Like I think the way he handles himself is very intelligent, if that is the plan, or if that's what he's going through right now. And I do hope he's able to find work that suits his schedule a bit better. And it sounds like the DLC, based on some of his Famitsu columns, is definitely like an easier task than starting an entirely new project, which would be, pretty grueling, I'm sure.
Yeah. I think with him saying that, this is going to be the last Smash and everything, I think he genuinely doesn't know at that time if Nintendo's going to rehire him or not. Because like we were talking about, because since he is a freelance employee, there's so many things that have to be approved before a Smash game even gets made.
Along those lines, especially if it is the finale of the DLC, do you guys think, this is what I personally would like, but there is no history of it, do you think we will get a DLC included Smash Ultimate when this is all said and done?
Oh, it's something Nintendo don't usually do. Like they tend to just let the DLC stay on the eShop and make you buy the original package again. Like sometimes with re-releases on like the next console they do, like Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. But I can't recall a time they've just done like on the same system a complete set.
I actually reread this interview from Sakurai that he posted after Brawl, and in it he was actually asked, or he mentioned like the idea of releasing Brawl on the Wii with like more content, and in reply to that he was like, well, Nintendo's not really that kind of company. So exactly what John said.
Things have changed.
Very distinct. I feel like probably it'll happen. I feel and I only say that because we've seen them start doing that with like Sword and Shield re-released with all the DLC content.
That is Game Freak, and so they do kind of walk to their own drum.
For sure, I know the Pokemon company is definitely like its own thing, but I feel like Nintendo probably was like, why don't we? Because they're publishing it, so they're like, why don't we do that again, guys? Like, there's got to be a reason they did it.
I want them to do it because, like with the PlayStation scare recently, eventually the eShop's going to go down, and we're not going to have access to Hero and Sephiroth and Banjo.
That's gonna be
devastating.
I feel like it'll happen. The biggest thing that I hear against it is that people think that there's profit sharing with the DLC characters. My assumption is that they fully license it, like license those and pay them outright for it.
Yeah, the licensing, it seems like a nightmare. But that's another reason why a physical copy would be good, because then if they decide to rip Cloud off, Square Enix gets really weird about it and rips Cloud off
or
the eShop.
Sora.
Or Sora. Really, that's what I'm really talking about.
Sora's only in the re-release, man, with all the DLC. You didn't know.
Yeah. What do you call this game, though? When Smash Ultimate already implies it's like the ultimate game. Can you have
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Complete or something like that?
Plus
DX,
yeah.
Now with Dante, featuring Dante.
Just add an R at the end of Ultimate. Ultimate-ter.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Jeez. Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. E3's coming up.
Yeah.
I can tell you how they're ending the show. So they do all their announcements, and they say, okay, it's time for one last encore. Fades to black.
Encore.
Another encore, baby.
What do you know, John?
No. Imagine we end the finale. What a world that would be.
If that happens, If that happens, I'm going for a swim in the duck pond for sure.
I have a scary thought to end my portion. There have been weird announcements out of place, kind of like the Hyrule Warriors DLC. Skyward Sword kind of being its own separate thing. We never brought up any Zelda 35th anniversary discussion. But we also had the Pokemon release dates without a trailer for BDSP and Legends. I'm curious if you guys think there is a ton of planning behind this year's E3, or if they kind of grouped some stuff together because E3 reached out to them kind of at a later date that they weren't necessarily planning for? And if so, if maybe this E3 isn't going to be that big?
I think the stuff that you've mentioned, like the Pokemon stuff and Hyrule Warriors, that's all other companies besides Nintendo. Like I know Nintendo's publishing them and licensing their IPs and stuff like that. But Koei Tecmo, I think, is just completely different. In terms of Hyrule Warriors, they always kind of do their own thing with the DLC announcements. Because like, didn't they announce one at like a talk?
Yep.
Yeah.
Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like then they announced one at Tokyo Game Show, and then they announced one, I think, at like a fan presentation that they did, like WonderCon or something like that.
They did a post. They did an announcement post at 2 a.m. one time on Twitter only. So
yeah,
yes. So I think that part is. I think they're what's it called? Self-sustained. They kind of have their own thing going on. What I mean is, it seemed like we were supposed to get a trailer for Pokemon Legends when those announcements for the date were released. What I mean is, does it seem like they took those trailers to fill in the E3 presentation?
Oh, okay.
It leads to something else, doesn't it? Like they just released the dates in the box art. Like it's so strange.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why you wouldn't hang on though. Like if those trailers are in the E3 presentation, why wouldn't you hang on and wait, like reveal the release dates then?
Production, maybe. I was thinking about that. Like maybe businesses that had them in their systems, and it would have leaked out if you didn't say something about it.
Walmart Canada.
Yeah.
No, my assumption is that I feel like Nintendo probably had a showcase lined up for many months to occur in June, not knowing what E3 was going to be doing. So I think they, because they announced everything like leading up to June, the first half of the year, like right off the top. So I think they knew that they're gonna have a showcase. I think E3 said, "Hey, we're back. Do you want to be part of it?" Nintendo said, "Yeah." So I think that just means that they're gonna, like, it's just gonna be E3 branded.
Yeah,
essentially.
They kind of just reworked it to fit in that time slot.
Yeah, and I think they were already planning to make their announcements like within that window, and it just so happened that E3 came back this year digitally. So they're like, "Okay, perfect. Like that's when we're thinking about doing it anyway."
Yeah, I can see that.
So I don't think it's too Frankenstein. This is my. I think they've been building to it for a while.
I'm just trying to keep people's hopes not too high.
Definitely everything we've talked about definitely won't be announced there. New Donkey Kong, new Metroid, all that stuff.
Kirby with ray tracing.
Yeah, Kirby with ray tracing.
Yeah,
that's a duck pond guarantee.
Yeah. Well, this was fun. I liked this a lot.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, this was a good time. I exhausted everything. I have nothing left. Do you guys have anything left?
Don't think so.
I'm all. That's my whole list, and I'm sure Push is almost a zombie now.
We've called what E3's going to be. I'm sorry to the ESA, but we just leaked everything.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing.
I think we've nailed it exactly. Everything we said, guaranteed. There is no room for mistakes.
Oh, and Donkey Kong 99.
Oh yeah.
Oh man,
there you go.
Good.
It's the 40th anniversary. I feel like it's gonna happen.
The arcade version.
Yeah,
it's gotta be.
Heck yeah.
Version.
Yeah.
All of us on the same screen.
Yeah.
All 99 people.
I feel like
sharing
you send
spots.
barrels to people. Like you jump over a barrel, it goes to whoever you're targeting, or something like that.
Oh man, 99 barrels attacking me. I'm bad at Donkey Kong. One, the amount that's already there is hard enough for me.
That was good. Thanks for hosting this push.
Yeah. Sorry for the
Isn't it like
technical
5 a.m.?
issues at the start. It's like 2:30.
Well,
There
you
you
deserve
go.
sleep.
Yeah, get some sleep, man.
Yeah.
Nintendo 2. Yes, that's what's going to be announced.
Oh my god, really?
Nintendo 2.
Finally, Nintendo 2. All right. Do you guys
Cool.
just want to quickly just say where people can find you, and then we'll end the show. So
Sure.
we'll go from top to bottom. So John, do you want to go first?
My name's John Cartwright. You can find me in a duck pond. I'm also on Twitter at JonComms, and I work for Nintendo Life, where I do videos.
All right, and Taco.
I'm Taco. I am on Twitter quite often, spelled the same way, TAHK0, and then I Twitch stream where I talk quite a lot. That's it.
All right,
Awesome.
Right.
Okay, and I guess you can find me on Twitter at the Riley Little, and I run Walmart Canada, the gaming's Twitter handle. So you can follow that at Walmart CA Gaming on Twitter if you want. Sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into a brand thing. Push.
Yep, and I'm PushDustIn. You can follow me by searching PushDustIn on Google. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and soon to be TikTok when Jonesy's in Smash, so I can do all those dances.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
All right, thanks guys. Thank you again to everyone that joined. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning, but I'm glad we all made it and we had a great conversation. So thank you.
Heck yeah.